AI agents now can actually perform the outcome on behalf of the customer autonomously in the background. Now with our AI agents, we can automatically place that order in the downstream systems and provide that confirmation back to the customer almost instantly. We have kind of passed the Turing test. Customers don't even know that they're interacting with an AI. One of our best use cases, we actually save customers from canceling. It builds that trust with the brand, and the ROI is great.
Will be there a time where AI agents communicate with AI agents on the customer side?
I think so.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the eCommerce Coffee Break podcast. Customer support has always been one of the toughest parts of running a DTC brand. It's costly, hard to scale, and often leaves shoppers waiting too long. But imagine if you could automate it, order changes, returns, even subscriptions, while still keeping that personal touch. That's exactly where AI agents come in. And to learn more about this, on how it works, I'm joined by Steil. He's the founder and CEO of StateSet, a platform that helps growing Shopify brands to use AI to run operations smoother. So we have a lot to cover. Let's dive into it. Hi, Dom. How are you today?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Very well. Dom, a lot of brands see customer support just as a cost, and most brands struggle most with that. How can AI fix it?
So I look at it as kind of the pre-transformer era and post-transformer era. So in 2023 with like the app and the GPT-4, this kind of thing got dropped into the world. And from a technology standpoint, I think it really changed the way we look at how software should be built and how it's delivered and how it can create different customer experiences. I think prior to that, the best practice was you set up your systems, you set up some different middlewares to try to integrate them. But really, there's kind of that missing customer-facing orchestration side of things where you're actually having the software perform some outcome on behalf of the customer. And I think that's what changed, where AI agents now can actually perform the outcome on behalf of the customer, just kind of autonomously in the background. Now, how that's accomplished, it takes time. It takes efforts to essentially do that sort of the upfront work to get it right. But once you have it in place, I think the benefits and ROI is really great even today, and it will continue to improve over the next couple of years.
I found on your website the term iCommerce, intelligent commerce. What does that mean? What does that involve?
Yeah, so I think iCommerce stands for intelligent commerce. I think what we're looking at is a new category of software that exists in this new transformer world. And what it means is the software is integrated, it's intelligent, it's instantly connected to the different systems you're using, and it's iterative in that it's consistently getting better and better as the agents are learning more and more. So I think this is this new category that many companies are going to be looking at. How do we kind of build this intelligent system, this OS that's powering our business? Something that maybe wouldn't have been able to be possible prior to the LLM.
Now, a lot of our listeners might have heard the term AI agents, but they might think about chatbots. We have them in the past, but it's a completely different story here. Talk me through a use case, what AI agents actually can do in a DTC business.
So one of our customers, they're using our AI agents for doing warranty replacements. So prior to this, if maybe a chatbot would handle it, a customer writes in, hey, I got my order, it broke, can I do a replacement? And there would be a chat back like, yeah, let me, send you this link, or hey, we'll forward this to someone on our team. And then they have to manually go into the 3PL, enter the order, make sure the order gets into the ERP. Now with our AI agents, we can actually take the intent of this is a warranty replacement intent. We can look up the SKU either based on the data that they've provided or an image of the product, or even their previous order history. And then we can automatically place that order in the downstream systems and provide that confirmation back to the customer. So this is just one example where it's gone from just kind of being conversational and like a chat link to something where it actually can perform taking action in the various systems and provide that confirmation back to the customer almost instantly. So it saves the team time internally, especially over the weekend. If they come in Monday morning, they don't have 100 warranties that they have to manually process. It's completely streamlined. And, maybe for the couple outliers, if it's not sure what the correct SKU is, it can actually escalate it with different logic.
And it definitely helps a lot if you want to scale, or really this automation takes a lot of work from a manual employee from manual work to the AI. Now, a lot of brands, or most brands, have very, very different tech stacks. How does an AI agent connect to all these different technologies that are running in the background?
So I think what we've done at the company is we've really focused on kind of the direct consumer stack. So like the main subscription apps that are in the ecosystem, the main 3PLs or WMS systems. And even on the storefront side, we've made sure that we've integrated with kind of the key platforms there. I think there's different methodologies today. We're seeing like MCP protocol as a way to give agents the kind of context that they need, or even connecting to it just via tool calling and API calling, which I think was a key innovation over the last year and a half, where being able to actually perform an action, make an API call, connect to Shopify or Recharge or whatever the app is, and either check it to see the status of an order or to actually make a state change in that system, canceling the order, updating the status of subscription, or even moving a subscription out, a few months if the customer doesn't want to cancel. Those are some of the ways that we're looking at integrating the different systems.
Oh, brand owners, founders that have not used AI agents yet, they might have a fear that they're losing the human touch. How will AI agents make sure that it still feels personal and on brand?
I think it does today. I think it's almost an interesting, even more macro potentially impact is like we have kind of passed the Turing test, quote unquote, in that a lot of the times the customers don't really even know that they're interacting with an AI. We have other customers that will say, hey, this is like automated assistant at the brand name. We're here to help. And if it does accomplish the outcome that the customer wants, I don't see that they completely. I think once it goes beyond a certain number of messages, usually we do have rules in place where this is probably something more nuanced and we do want to escalate it to a team member so they still feel like they're not just in this loop where they're not getting what they need done. But I think it's going to be a combination of you'll have your AI agents for things like repetitive tasks like subscription modifications, warranty replacements, order cancellations, and even some of the more infrastructure side of things like orchestrating orders between different systems. I think that's where a lot of the benefit we're seeing today. And then for more nuanced things that just require time or the AI doesn't even have the API call, in its available list of tools, that will always still need to be escalated to a human.
Mm-hmm. Brings me to the next idea or topic here is data security, data safety. Obviously, with connecting a lot of systems and then having AI in there, some listeners might say, I'm not safe about that, or I'm not feeling good about it, specifically as people might have heard about AI hallucinating. How do you make sure that all the data transfer that's happening there is safe?
So there's a couple ways we look at this. The first thing is creating the right guardrails and rules around what the AI can and can't answer to. For a lot of customers, like, not answering medical advice is very important, kind of, table stakes thing, especially if they're like a health and wellness brand or beauty brand. Having the right guardrails in place, even using more traditional software methods like regex and being able to check, for certain keywords like reaction or or even if for escalation policies like frustrated, having that in place, I think is table stakes. Without it, you're not able to go live, especially for customers that are more on the health and wellness side of things. I think the other thing is creating the right evals. So creating evals around can we grade the response and see, does it pass all of our checks around like politeness? Does it pass all of our rules around the correct tone? So you can run those evals when the response is being created. And if it doesn't pass the correct amount of evals, it doesn't get sent to the customer. So I think that's another really important thing. In addition to kind of building your prompt and the rules and everything, having the right evals in place sets you up for success. And then the last part of it is being able to use those evals to fine tune the models over time. 6 months ago, I probably wouldn't have said fine tuning was that big of a thing. I thought the models will get better and you can just use the base models and just build really good prompts and rules around it. I think what we've found is that if you can have the team create the correct evals, because they know better than anyone, what is a correct response? Is this the correct tone? If you create those evals, you can actually use them over time to fine tune the models, and you can actually get even better results and feel better or more confident about, is it going to be on point and is it not going to hallucinate something? So that's something that we've leaned into a lot over the past year or so is fine tuning and evals.
Mm-hmm. AI is so interesting because obviously in the first place, it should just save your time and make your customer service better. But in the second step, actually, it makes your service better overall by just optimize your business in so many aspects and even in the communication. Now, when we talk about this optimization, how does the onboarding process work? How long does it take? How long does it take to get the data in to do the fine tunings? How is it working?
Yeah, so we have certain tools that we've used, like different website scrapers, where you can just put in a website URL and it will loop through the site and pull in like product information or macros and FAQs. We also have APIs to help desk, so we can pull in the knowledge base and help desk information from there. So it's not just copying and paste everything manually. So that's some of the upfront work that we've done. I think in the initial 2 to 3 week build out time, it's usually around what it takes for us to build the knowledge base, build some rules, test the AI kind of with like drafting different responses and creating evals off of those responses. I think that process it's kind of an iterative process to get the tone right and also make sure that like the email signature is right. It's able to make the function calls that it's doing. And then lastly is kind of just before you go live, making sure that the correct channels, is it on for email, chat, and social, or is it just email? Is it responding to these types of intents around orders and subscriptions, or do we have it answering everything? So I think getting very granular about not just how it's responding, but what types of requests it's responding to is also super important from a go live standpoint.
Most brands out there are selling internationally, omnichannel and internationally. How can an AI agent support this?
Yeah, I mean, works in every single language. We've seen it work in we've done demos. I think we did one, it was like in Finnish, and it was like perfect Finnish for the customer that we do. We didn't end up signing them as a customer, but they were pretty amazed by the demo of it, at least getting it pretty accurate. And that was around a year ago. So I'm sure as the models continue to get better and better, it's going to improve. So yeah, multi-language works really well. I think it's also really great at just kind of understanding context and nuance, because we'll give it all the Shopify customer, all the orders from Shopify, all the subscription data from Shopify. It has all of that context, and it's a really important thing. If you can build that and have that in place, it doesn't matter what country they're in. It's kind of the same structured data that we'll need to create a response. So I think a really key part of it as well.
It's kind of impressive because, I mean, finding a Finnish support agent might be a little bit difficult depending where you are. And you might only have like a handful of requests per year. So it's not worth to get somebody in AI basically just covers all of that. Are there any areas where AI is improving, where new jobs or new tasks for AI agents coming up that it does not cover yet?
Yeah, so I think one use case that we've done this year was around more on the B2B side of like parsing unstructured kind of emails and orders for the purchase orders. And that use case was great, but sometimes you would get line item, like a customer that would write in, let's say like 50 line items, like here's what we need for this next week for our order. Some of the models that we tried early on just they weren't able to actually parse through the email and find the correct SKUs. We found with GPT-5 and some of the latest reasoning models, it actually was able to do those things. So I think that pattern of finding use cases where it's like almost working and it's almost there, but as the models get continuously better, eventually it will work. That was one that we found early on didn't work, but as the models and the reasoning got better, it was actually able to determine like, okay, I see these are the 5 products the customer wants to order. I can do a lookup into the database to find the correct SKUs, and then I can create the order in the ERP system. So I think some of those sort of use cases where it's unstructured data, or even vision model use cases as well, where it's unstructured, those are the ones where it's going to take a little bit more time, but I don't think they're years out. Maybe, next months out, or as the next model gets released.
As AI and AI agents are relatively new technology, can you give some case studies or success stories of customers that you have worked with and what kind of results they saw?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for a lot of our customers on the subscription side, all of it's around retention. So can we actually save customers from canceling? I think that's probably one of our best use cases. And the ROI there is obviously it's not losing a customer. And also it builds that trust with the brand. If say on the weekend you write in, you get an email notification like, hey, your next subscription order's on the way. And you write back like, hey, can you cancel this? Or, I thought I canceled this subscription. Prior to having like an AI agent in place, maybe the team doesn't get back to that till Monday. The order ships, the customer's frustrated. Hey, you waited, you waited and you didn't get back and you didn't cancel the order. Now this is getting shipped to me. Cancel my subscription. Versus what we found is we can actually say, hey, do you want to just pause for 6 months? We found, if you have enough product already, instead of canceling, do you want to pause or just skip this order? And the fact that we can get back to them right away and then also perform that action for them and confirm it, it builds the trust, it saves the customer, and the ROI is great because then the team doesn't have to spend time, manually going back and saying, hey, we're so sorry that, we didn't catch this. It was over the weekend. We'll refund you the order, sort of thing. So I think that's a really good use case around subscription and order management.
Love this example because obviously speed is really key here. And that's a system that's working 24/7 and you don't have to call into a call center in, I don't know, somewhere abroad. And it's just all these kind of headaches that you had in the past. An AI agent is just there and does the work. Now, for founders that are listening, when is the best time to start using an AI agent in your brand journey?
Yeah, so I think in the brand journey where we found it works great is brands that are basically kind of in that like hyper scaling mode. And they're looking at how do we either go and get a couple more apps to try and help with this? Do we go hire more headcount, or do we work with the BPO to kind of get temporary outsource headcount? I think that's potentially where an AI agent on the operations side and CX side can come in and kind of put the infrastructure in place. So as the brand is scaling, they don't need to continue to increase OpEx. And so it's not linearly scaling with them. I think the other side of it would be around like BFCM and holidays, having something in place ahead of that, kind of for the same reason. If you are looking at it from a standpoint of like, we're going to have a lot more tickets, we're going to need to be all hands on deck, having an AI agent in place to basically handle the surge in volume and make sure that everything's being orchestrated and customers are getting back to quickly. I think that's another key part.
Basically, now is the right time. If you're looking at Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we should get started right now. Who's your perfect customer in that? So is there specific industries or verticals that you work more with than others?
Yeah, I would say health and wellness and beauty brands north of 10 million GMV with like thousands of tickets per month is like this sweet spot. If there's lower volume, it might not make a ton of sense just because I think teams that are able to handle the volume sometimes end up fighting the AI if they're like, hey, we don't need this in place now, or hey, it took a batch of tickets that I was working on, or hey, this process was something that I did, or something along those lines. I think if it's the team kind of inundated and they're like, we have a triage set up, we are like firefighting kind of all these tickets coming in, like we're every day it's like that, then it's a lot more of a just total value add and a win-win on our side and on their side. I think the other side of it is, primarily work with direct consumer, north of 10 million GMV. Health and wellness beauty is like our perfect sweet spot. I think is kind of where we found it works great.
Makes perfect sense. On hyperscaling mode, obviously that's the best place to use AI. How does your pricing structure work? How do you charge for this?
Yeah, so we originally were doing kind of just a flat monthly fee around basically $1,500 a month, and that covers unlimited ticket volume. That includes infrastructure, setup, everything. It's just basically a flat monthly fee. We've been recently kind of moving more towards this outcomes-based model where you have a pre-approved amount of outcomes that could be performed by the agent, and so it would still be that $1,500 a month. The only difference is if you go over that, there is some charge per outcome. But the idea is that if we want to basically like align the ROI and the incentives of us and the brand, we would only pay for if an outcome is performed. So that's kind of the option we're giving our customers now. All of our existing customers are kind of on that grandfather plan where it's just a flat monthly rate. But we are looking at the idea of, does it make sense to basically say, not per conversation or not per ticket, but can we actually create the replacement order? Can we actually change the subscription? Can we create a return? If we're able to perform that outcome, then we would charge like $1 per outcome.
Question, and you're on the forefront of AI, and I'm just curious to hear from you. Will be there a time, and probably very soon, where AI agents communicate with AI agents on the customer side?
I think so. I like maybe negotiating pricing, maybe like you have like a sales concierge agent communicating with like asking for like a discount or applying a discount in post an order with a CX agent, and maybe they, neither of them know that they're AI agents, but maybe the concierge agent saying, hey, I placed this order. Can you please apply the discount? I didn't do it at checkout. And maybe the AI would be able to perform that outcome and, sends a notification. Hey, I got your discount for you. Just letting you know. Thanks. Thanks. Maybe that could be a future. I think more on the orchestration side as well. Maybe AI agents from one system of record to another, like a 3PL and like a warehouse agent with like CX agent saying, hey, we just got this request in from this customer. to cancel an order. Has it shipped yet? And then the agent can respond back saying, yeah, it's still being picked. We're able to hold it for them or cancel it for them. So that's maybe a little bit like Horizon 1, Horizon 2, but that could be a cool feature as well. As it's just kind of working autonomously in the background like that.
Yeah, I think that's because most of the traffic on the interwebs is bots by now. So I think it's going to happen very soon. And it will be interesting to see how that works out. Before our coffee break comes to an end today, Dom, is there anything that you want to share with our listeners that we haven't covered yet?
Yeah, absolutely. I think kind of what we talked about, like categorically, I think this is a new era of software. Like prior to this, you have your SaaS kind of dashboards. Before that, you had your on-premise systems. I think now it's kind of looking as like you'll have these kind of environments where you can like monitor agents, you can fine tune them, and you can kind of create the evals in the right kind of you put the rules and infrastructure in place, and then it's more of like, how do we continuously improve it? So, and then how do you focus on the strategy of like this use case around orders and subscriptions working really well? What else could we add, long term? So that kind of shifts the mindset of I have to go in and I have to manually kind of do all these different things to how can we optimize this so that I can get time back to look at more the strategic and growth side of things. And so, yeah, I think that's really what we're working on is how we that system that is out for a leading scaling D2C brand. So, yeah, that's what I'm working on these days.
Yeah, it's exciting times, and I hear AI agents left, right, and center, and it's definitely the advantages of having them are there. And I think that will be where iCommerce is going, and definitely something to look into. Where can people go and find out more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So StateSet.com is our you can reach me at dom@stateset.com. And then I also write on LinkedIn. We just launched a newsletter called the iCommerce Signal, which talks a lot about these different use cases that we're working on. And then, on X, Twitter as well.
Okay, I will put the links in the show notes, and consider me as a new subscriber for your newsletter because I want to stay up on the latest what's happening there. For our listeners, if you want to scale, if you want to look into AI agents, reach out to Dom. I think that's a good start to get this integrated into your e-commerce business, and it will save you a lot of time. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks, Klaus. I appreciate it.